Hello, Sofa Squad, and welcome back to the damn podcast channel. Y'all, we're on the podcast channel. Over here, we do like case headlines, case updates, that kind of stuff, and I go live from time to time just to talk about stuff like that. So if you are seeing me over here and you're not used to it, make sure you subscribe to this channel. My other channel, Reporting Live from My Sofa, that's where I do like longer form content, deeper dives, big story times, interrogation breakdowns, that kind of stuff. So the link is in the description. Make sure you're subscribed to that channel as well. Okay, so now what we are going to be discussing today, you saw the thumbnail, you clicked it, here we are at the computer. We're going to be discussing some case updates. Now the way I like to lay these out is I'll put up a headline or article, whatever, go over some key points of it, and at the end of the video I'm going to offer my opinion on each of the things that we talk about, so stick around for that. Before we get started, I always like to say thank you to everybody who makes my channels possible. They would not be here without you. I couldn't make the amount of content that I do without you all. I thank you. Roscoe thanks you, who is over there on the sofa on the other set, and the computer and the sofa thank you too. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump on into things. Now the first case we're going to be going over, update I should say, is tragic. It was something we were hoping not to see. But this is the update of Chrissy Powell, and I'm going to put the headline up here and we'll just go over it together. So this is from the Daily Mail, and it's written by Vanessa Cerna, and this is published July 25th, 2022. So Texas mom 39 is found dead in her car at a strip mall 3 weeks after doorbell cam captured her rushing to work without her phone or meds. So she was found dead in her car at a strip mall 3 weeks after she vanished. She talks about leaving her house 10:34 a.m. on July 5th after she called into her job as the paralegal to let them know she was running late. And that door cam footage that we saw was the last sighting of her. Her body was found in her Nissan Rogue car in a parking lot on the Huebner Oak Center in San Antonio on Saturday night. So let's just go over a couple of key points from the article itself, and then we'll continue on. So it says her body was found in her Nissan Rogue in the parking lot of the Huebner Oak Center in San Antonio on Saturday night, according to the New York Post. Her body was parked in the same location for about a week before she was discovered, the police told Fox News. Now let's look at one other little clipping from this. A security guard noticed a foul odor, according to the New York Post. He then found her body in the front seat and dialed 911. There was no obvious trauma to Powell's body, but her cause of death will be determined by the coroner. My heart goes out to her children, her mother, everyone who knew and loved her. We're going to stand by to see what more information we get, but it's a tragic end to this. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next headline. Now who we're going to discuss now is Barry Morphew. So for those who don't know, Barry Morphew's wife, Suzanne Morphew, she disappeared a couple of years ago. Barry Morphew was finally charged in that disappearance. Her body still has not been found, but unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you view it, those charges were dropped against him, and so this is kind of an illegal limbo, but he has pled guilty to some charges, and we're going to go over those. Okay, so the article is by Catherine Benalio. I hope I'm saying that right. It was published on July 23rd, 2022. And this says, accused wife killer Barry Morphew pleads guilty to voting for Trump under her name. So let's just read a couple of little clippings from this article. A Colorado man once accused of murdering his wife pleaded guilty to casting a presidential ballot for Donald Trump in her name because he thought the Republican could use the vote, according to reports. Barry Morphew, 53, claimed he didn't know it was illegal to fill out a ballot on behalf of a spouse, and told authorities he did so in his wife Suzanne Morphew's name just because I wanted Trump to win. I just thought, give him another vote. I figured all these other guys are cheating. So we're going to stand by to see like what kind of a sentence will come with that, or what he'll get for that, or whatever. So that will be coming up, and obviously if he ever will face charges again for the disappearance of her, and if they are ever able to locate her body. Okay, now let's go on to another husband headline. I mean, these are becoming all too common. This is back over to this side of the country, the East Coast, in my neck of the woods down in South Carolina. And who I'm talking about is Alec Murdaugh. And what I want to do is just review an article about his recent pleadings and the charges related to the death of his, or I shouldn't even say that, the murder of his wife and his son Paul. Now again, for those that don't know, this is the disgraced attorney who, y'all, if there's a charge out there, he's got it at this point. I mean, it's just, It's bad, okay? So he's faced tons of charges in relation to money fraud and all this, and all these people are going down around him. The level of corruption around this man is insane. Well, also his wife and son were found murdered on their hunting estate, their hunting lodge, and it's not looked good, but finally he was charged with this, and we're going to talk about his pleadings now. So let's review the article. So this is the Associated Press. This was an NPR. It says, disbarred South Carolina attorney Alec Murdaugh pleads not guilty to murdering his wife and son. Now let's just review a couple of excerpts from the article. So the once powerful and now disbarred South Carolina attorney pleaded not guilty on Wednesday to taking the life of his wife and son. Prosecutors agreed to keep the evidence secret amid media attention. His defense said that Murdaugh can't afford to post any bond and wants a speedy trial because he believes the killer or killers are still at large. The prosecution said all evidence shows he was responsible for the fatal shootings. The evidence in the case is substantial and it all points back to Alec Murdaugh. There is forensic evidence as well as other evidence of his guilt of these murders, said Creighton Waters, a deputy state attorney general. Okay, now let's read a quick excerpt about what Alec's defense attorney had to say about this. It was very clear from day one that law enforcement and the attorney general prematurely concluded that Alec was responsible for the murder of his wife and son. The defense wrote ahead of Wednesday's hearing, but we know that Alec did not have any motive whatsoever to murder them. Now, another thing I want to look at, because a lot of people have asked me, where's Buster, his other son? And so I want to review a headline right here that we're going to go over that just kind of talks a little bit about what Buster, the surviving son, has been up to. So it says he's not doing well at all. Alec Murdaugh's surviving son, Buster, 26, is now a recluse after mother and brother were murdered by his dad, has gained weight, dropped friends, and never returned to family homes. It goes on to say that he's 26 years old. He has reportedly not been doing well after the death of the mother, brother, and what happened to his father. Two of his friends said the heir to the Murdaugh legacy has gained weight, grown a beard, and has become a recluse. He looks tired. He's aged like 10 years in the past year. He has bags under his eyes and he just looks miserable. It's just a shame, his childhood friend said. He also has talked to his friends about his father's criminal charges, and friends think he doesn't know what to believe. His father, Alec, pleaded not guilty to the 2 counts of murder for Paul and Maggie, which took place at the South Carolina hunting lodge. We just discussed that. Okay, so let's go ahead and discuss some of these headlines, and let's start with the ones that we just did. And again, this is just kind of my opinions on these, so take it for what it is. So my thing about Buster is this. Now, keep in mind with this, first of all, he's the only surviving son. His father has literally tarnished their family name, right? This is a family name that went on for generations and generations. Now, I'm not trying to even sit here and say that generation after generation has not been doing bad, corrupt things, because it's starting to look like that, right? But nonetheless, I'll say this. If I was Buster, I would be a recluse, fatter than I am, with a beard, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I can't imagine going through this. But also keep in mind that there's lots of death and scandal that surround everyone in this family. Buster being one of them too. There was that other guy who died with the investigation has kind of kicked back up. Buster's name was thrown out there a little bit, allegedly possibly having some kind of a situation with this dude. So again, that's speculation at this point. That's all up there, but it's been thrown out there, right? His brother Paul was standing, charges against killing their friend on the boat, and then obviously they see that happened. So there's that. So I wouldn't expect Buster to be out in the public eye partying, right? He's probably been told to completely lay low. And the article did go on to say that he hasn't really been back to the houses where his mother was staying, because they were separated, living in different homes. Again, don't really blame him, so there's that. I'll be interested to see what more comes to the investigation into this death of that guy that Buster is kind of not attached to, but that his name is kind of thrown in there with. So I have to see. Now on to his father. Well, of course his dad's going to plead not guilty. That's what anybody's going to do. But that line that he said, I want a speedy trial because I think the killers are still out there. I'm like, oh my God, please. Here we go. We've got another damn Diane Downs on our hands. So again, of course he's going to plead not guilty. That is expected. We'll see what happens with it. This case is just going to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. Right? It's that deep. There's so many crimes. Every time I look it up, this attorney's going down, this financial person. I mean, the crimes are deep, right? Now, let's go ahead and talk about Barry Morphew. First of all, I don't know if I believe that he didn't know it was illegal to cast a vote for somebody else, right? I'm just like, okay. At this point, whatever. Do I think he'll serve jail time? I don't know. I don't even know what kind of charges you can get for that, right? I'm not sure if it equates to that. If they can, whatever the maximum sentence is, I personally think they'll throw it at him, especially after the whole thing of dropping the charges against the Suzanne thing. He is going to be on their radar, right? I can almost assure you they're not going to want him to walk away from this whole situation with just a charge about filing a false vote for Suzanne, right? So we're going to have to stay tuned to see. Again, I do think that the whole thing once I started looking into the evidence of what they had against him for the death of Suzanne, I was like, this isn't good. It does not surprise me that the charges were dropped, is what I'm getting at, right? Regardless if I feel that he did it or not, it does not surprise me that they were dropped. It just was getting very sketchy what they were going with. So I do want to see justice, and I do want to see Suzanne found, whatever that means, whether it's bringing her remains home or that she's out there somewhere. And again, I hope that for all those that love her and care for her, answers will come to the surface. Chrissy Powell, let's talk about her. Same thing. I mean, y'all, honestly, I was talking on a live chat the other day, and I was like, talking about this experience I had with losing my keys and all this type of stuff, and it was drama, and I was like, oh my god, this is how this happens. Like, imagine if I had a medical condition, I had to walk home, and next thing you know, I pass out and roll down the ditch, something like this. To find out that she's in a parking lot, and again, by the time you watch this, maybe we'll have answers to this, and that she's been there for a week, this is like, what? So I do wonder, I'm like, does she have some kind of a medical situation? Does she have a heart attack? Like, what happened to her in that time? It just seems so bizarre, and that it took that long for someone to notice the car and then the body and all this. I'm guessing maybe she was slumped over. My heart breaks for her family and her mother. Her mother's just heartbroken. If you saw the Facebook post, I mean, it's so sad. So that's it for today. If you're still watching, drop hearts, drop sofas, show love in the comments for all of the victims of these crimes. And that's it. Thank you for being here. If there's ever any headlines or cases you want me to cover, just let me know. Send me an email. It's down in the description below. And next time we meet around the damn computer and that damn sofa with Roscoe on it, I'll see y'all soon.